Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about building and building quickly in the ants. The first priority for me to build is always the queen. If I can level the queen, I will level the queen. The higher the level the queen, the better the rewards you get from events. The requirements for the boxes for the colony actions do increase, but the rewards get better. At lower levels, you don't even get diamonds from the first box. When your zone wins war zone events, example, okay, this is the defeat screen. If you get a win on a war zone day, you'll actually get eggs and then a bunch of resources. I believe level 22 or 23, the purple eggs start turning into orange eggs. So it is worthwhile to level higher, and you get better rewards when you do so. Priority buildings for me, when I level my queen, population. Alright, you need to get the worker ant nest, at least one of them, to be the same level as your queen. Only then can you build the aphid, and only then can you build the feeding ground to equal level as your queen. After that, my priority would be the resources buildings. So the aphids, the woodlouse colony, plant flora, meat, and the wet soil and sand piles get leveled. For fungus, always level your native fungi. It should be at the same level as your queen, because this is passive fungus production. I don't level all my leaf cutters. I find that this setup is enough. Just have one at the queen level, and then a few others sort of a few levels behind. Water for your springs, you may not need it at queen level, but I find that having extra fungus and having extra water is beneficial for the ladybug. When you go to the ladybug, she's here right now, so I can trade. Alright, see here, I can trade water for plant. I can trade the fungus for plant. I can trade extra water for honeydew. I can trade fungus for honeydew as well. Alright, so if you are lacking for the resources that you can produce but can't use up, you can always sell them on the ladybug. With the resources, you also need to make sure that you have enough depot space, storage space to store them. And then when you want to build up things like the queen or your barracks, they require fairly ridiculous amounts of resources, so you need to have enough storage. So here I was forced to level my plant depots to actually hold enough storage to level the queen. With depots, I suggest you level only as much as you need, because each further level on the depot costs millions and millions and millions of resources on its own, and it's quite frustrating just leveling depot. You want to go on and level other things also. Okay, for the military, okay, when the military is unlocked, you get to build your barracks and your units. For barracks, there you have the three classes: the carriers, the guardians, and the shooters. In order to go fast, I will suggest you focus on one class. In my case, I've actually focused on the carriers because of higher carrying capacity and higher battle speed. Right? What this means is that I'm not pouring resources into keeping the Guardian and the Shooter Barracks leveled at Queen level. Alright, and what this means is also that if I go into my evolution fungi, I'm making sure that I'm leveling the carrier research tree, but I'm skipping the Guardian and Shooter ends for now. If I only level one class, it means that the resources that I'm not spending on leveling the other two, I'm pouring into pushing my queen faster. Same with the rally units, alright, the rally centers. Focus on one or maybe two first, and then the other two can play catch up. This also means that inside the evolution, you get your March 1 and the Pro unit all the way down to tertiary leadership first. March 2 and Unit 3, March Unit 2 and 3, you can just get the gathering boost done and then push further when you're ready. So I have my March 1 and my Pro nearly completed already. And in fact, the things that I've skipped on March 1 are the optional things, and then mostly the Guardian and the Shooter tags. This also means with me skipping on Guardians and Shooters, it also means that on my Soldier Healing tag, I've also skipped off the Guardian and Shooter tags. With the basic military, I've also skipped the Guardian and Shooter Hedge tags. Alright, so focus on one class. It allows you to push that class harder and faster first, and it allows you to level more quickly with the same amount of resources. Utility buildings, your class building should be leveled as much as possible, so you lean hard into your class. So if you're a raider and you're doing PvP, you want to have as much attack and defense on your pro unit, so you should get this leveled to your queen level or at least close by. Shouldn't lag too far behind. If you are a herder or if you are a cultivator, then you should level their respective buildings to increase the boost from the class. The ladybug habitat, alright, you should level in bouts to increase the items tradable. So once you get it, and once you get to queen level 4, you should just jump straight to 4. So leave it at 1 first, then push to 4. Then once you get to queen level 7, then you push the ladybug to level 8. Sorry, should be level 3, level 7, level 10, level 13, 16, and then 19. Alright, because the benefit in getting to the next tier comes with the increase in the number of items tradable. The evolution fungi should also be leveled for increased evolution speed. So once again, because it jumps from one tier, from one speed to another at certain levels, so you could theoretically leave it at 14, and then only when you get to level 20 push it up to 20. Right, so you level things in bouts, because that's how it goes. There's a block here, and then there's another block at 20% speed, and then another block at 45% increased speed, and then another block at 75% increased speed. Right. Okay, back to the military buildings, you have got your cocoons and your springs. In general, if you are not taking part heavily in player versus player queue event, you do not need very many troops. just enough for you to kill creatures, and that's all the military that you need. Try not to overtrain. Once you are ready to take part in PvP, then hopefully you at that point you have like tier 6, tier 7 ends already. At that point, then you want to make sure that your cocoons are leveled and your springs are leveled in order to do training day better, train more troops, and then train them faster, and then for the healing pools in order to catch them when they come back injured. Right. Okay, for the special end buildings, you have got your special nest, your special barracks, and your mutation pool. They are good to have leveled, but I would not say they are a super high priority. The special nest gives you extra XP for your special ends, and XP you can feed to your special ends with kiwi honeydews. So if you need a lot of special ends leveled, you could either level the special nest and make your special ends do a lot of creatures, but the other way is to just feed them a lot of kiwi honeydews. It doesn't increase anything with your hatch rates or give you better fragment deals either. Right, the special nest needs to be leveled above the level of the special barracks and the mutation pool. In other words, at this point my special nest is at 11. I cannot level the mutation pool to 12, so the special nest needs to be ahead of the other two buildings. The mutation pool you need in order to swap your shells for spores. Alright? Okay. The higher the level of your mutation pool, the lower the cost in honeydew, and then the more you can redeem each day. Alright? Every day you have your daily tasks. One of the daily tasks is actually to redeem the spores. So most of the time through the week, you'll actually go into the mutation pool and you just redeem 30 spores. Having the mutation pool leveled higher simply means that on special end day, you get to redeem more spores all at the same time, right? The special barracks is where you actually station your troops. Where you actually station your special ends for their production and their military bonuses. The problem with this building is that when you want to level it, it requires glimmery leaves, and this costs diamonds in order to be purchased. So what I would suggest is that you leave it at 7 or level 8 is good enough. If you see in the ladybug that sometimes there are discounted leaves or discounted rocks in the ladybug, then you can buy that at discount, and then when you accumulate enough, then you push that a bit higher. If you need a lot of ants to be stationed, what I will suggest is that instead of having all of them stationed all the time, you come into the building. Let's say for these two ants, the slender ant and the brown glider, their boosts come from rapid production. So you could leave these two completely unstationed most of the time, and then just before you do your rapid production, come in and remove, let's say, a healer ant, and then you put in your slender ant and brown glider, and then you do your rapid production. After that's done, you remove the two and you put back whatever you had removed in the first place. So you can shuffle your ants around in order to maximize the use of the points, because you aren't all the time healing ants. you aren't all the time doing rapid production. So only when you want to do the rapid production, or only when you want to heal your ants, then you put in the appropriate ant to be stationed. Okay. The next buildings are sort of military defensive buildings. The Sentinel Tree, I think, is worth leveling. Okay. You get more information from alerts and from your scouts. The alerts come when someone is attacking your base, and then your screen starts flashing red. So when you have your Sentinel Tree leveled, you will know more about the enemy that's coming. And then when you scout your enemy, then you also know more information of the enemy, and then you can make a decision as to how you want to attack them. Alright, so this building, I think, is very similar, treated very similar to the way I'll treat cocoons and healing springs. If the zone is peaceful and you don't and you're not planning player versus player, then you aren't going to be using it much. However, once you start doing PvP properly, then you want to have your Sentinel Tree leveled. And then you have your entrance, your toxic fungi, and your troop tunnel. Alright, the entrance gives you increase in durability. Having more durability means it's harder for players to hit you and make your base random teleport. It increases the attack and defense of your garrison. The garrison is where you set up your troops to defend or not. If you are doing PvP, you'll definitely want to be having your entrance leveled. It requires rocks, tiny rocks that you also need to buy with diamonds, and they are actually very, very expensive. Having said that, because the boost is a percentage boost for your garrison attack and defense, what this means is that if you have better ants and if you have more ants, then the boost will apply to all of the ants, and then your ant hill will be harder to invade. Right. So worthwhile investment of diamonds into the entrance. The toxic fungi basically is a fixed defender of your base. Alright. It just simply increases its attack with every level. The problem with this is that it needs toxic mushrooms, and these are also quite expensive to get. The problem is also that when you level the toxic fungi, only its attack increases, and then this attack doesn't scale with anything else. So you're paying diamonds for toxic mushrooms to increase the fungi's attack by a small amount. So even at the higher levels, 2700 at level 25, the value of the attack is nothing compared to the amount of attack that your troops, your ants properly have. So for the toxic fungi, it's a hard pass. You level it only because you find some cheap deal in the ladybug habitat and you have some cheap toxic mushrooms, then you push that level a bit. But other than that, I wouldn't encourage you to spend diamonds on leveling the toxic fungi at all. The troop tunnel is a useful building to have. It allows you to rally more troops, and it increases the amount of attack for your rallied troops. Rallying is used for you to do your alliance lizards, and then to do groundhogs also, and also to fight off as a team against a stronger enemy. So the higher the level of your troop tunnel, the more friends that can come and help you. Alright, and this is definitely worthwhile to level. The higher after level 11, you can't rally further, but the amount of attack boost that you get is increased. The Alliance Center needs to be level 15 before you can push the Queen higher. So level 15 it is. Leveling the Alliance Center simply increases the number of troops that can come and support your base and defense. It increases the amount of help that your alliance mates can click on to help you build faster, and then each click increases the amount of time that you have, the amount of help speed up that you receive. Unfortunately, by the time you get to level 15 or higher, 1 minute plus, or even let's say 1.5 minutes of help from your alliance becomes fairly insignificant. Alright, when every single build takes like 6 to 8 hours, if not multiple days, half an hour of speed up is very little. So it's nice to level. It's nice to have leveled, but it's also very expensive in terms of sand. So I've just left mine at level 15 because that was where it needed to be at the threshold. As a threshold building lah. Okay, insects. With the recent groundhog event, you have got your. If you do your groundhogs right, you will be receiving a lot of fodder for doing the groundhog event. So the insect buildings, the termite farms, basically convert honeydew into fodder. But if I'm getting enough fodder from my groundhog event, then I have no need to be leveling my termite farms, because leveling the termite farm only increases the amount of fodder that I can produce. It decreases the time to produce one fodder, and it decreases the cost of producing fodder. But if I don't need fodder, then none of these boosts are relevant. So termite farms are low priority at this point. The other insect building is the insect nest. Leveling the insect building will increase the speed that you can hatch insects. Leveling the insect building costs leaves, fodder, wet soil, and honeydew. So it's not a bad building to level if you really want your insects and you want them faster. But if you're not hatching a lot, then it's not that critical to level the insect buildings. The insect nest, the insect habitat, however, is where you go to actually station your insects. And this is where you go to actually get more work points. So in order to station the insect, you need to have enough work points. Yeah, so as you get higher level, then you have more points that you can actually station your insects with. Whether you level this or not depends on whether you have insects worthwhile to be stationed. So if you have, let's say there are more insects that are released in future, and then they have better boosts that you want, and you have them leveled, then you will want to level your insect habitat in order to gain more work points to have the insects crawl around your base. Right? If you don't have enough, that's a one. If you don't have enough insect stationing points, then what you can do is if you are not gathering, then you remove the locust and you station something else. So you can shuffle the work points around the same way you shuffle the stationing points around in the special barracks. In conclusion, priority for leveling: number 1, the queen. Number 2, resources buildings. Also need to be queen level: population, feeding ground. And then sometimes certain buildings are your threshold buildings, so you have to keep them, so you have to get them to the certain level before you can push the queen further. Depots, build as much as you need. For your military, focus on one class, focus on 1 or 2 units, rally centers. Ladybug habitat, level 10, level 13, 16, 19. Same with the evolution fungi. Get them to the level where you actually have the speed boost to the evolution. For the military buildings, the healing pool, Coccoon medium, Sentinel Tree, build when you are ready to be taking part in your player versus player. Entrance, good to have, expensive to level. Toxic fungi, useless, skip, don't waste your diamonds. Troop tunnel, level 8 is good, level 11 even better. Push up further for greater rally attack. Alliance center, 15 is good enough, unless it becomes a threshold building further up. For the special end buildings, special nest, okay, can level. Special barracks, level 7 to 8 is good enough because the glimmery leaves are expensive. Mutation pool, okay to level, but not super important either. Insect buildings, majority of them are hard skip. The only one that really should be leveled is the insect habitat. Okay, thank you very much everyone for watching, and have a good day. Bye bye.